Hey y'all, this is Church from Church's Intake. So let's get into another talking, I guess, because we're kind of in a place right now. It's like a limbo, you know, the passing of the guard or the baton, I'm gonna say, something like that. Like a lot of people, it's like they're trying to, you got these copycats and everything. They're trying to figure the next move, But what a lot of people aren't talking about is the copycats are those low vibrational beings that's been stealing from you. And God's been telling you, to keep your mouth shut for the most part. Obviously you can, you gotta still do what you gotta do in your day-to-day things and such. You talk to certain folk, but you're not elaborating, You're not giving the devil and his minions no ammo. So they're going to have to wave the white flag because they don't know the unknown. They're not good in this. They're not good unless they can steal, kill, and destroy, If they can't mimic, if you ain't telling them the next moves and they can't, they can't get that foresight from you or another chosen one like yourself, they don't know what to do. They're in wait. You can see it. Kind of like when you start posting and stuff, it's like, it's the domino effect. Just like how like the news is all like the same, if you outside of the matrix, you kind of know like everything, like every one of them repeats the same exact lines because they're not original. We're starting to find out, it's better to be an original, to create things of your own, get back to your own self, your own essence, your own I guess when God says go back to that childhood, like the things that made you happy, your expressions, how you express things and how you wanted to elevate yourself in life, things that you like to do. Like say you like to build cars, you used to build little cars and you used to play with the little cars and you're like, you know what? I want to be a mechanic or something, or I want to build cars and frames and stuff like that. And maybe when you was coming up, like, someone discouraged you, like, man, that ain't going to make you no money, or you got to take too much time to invest, to do something like that. And then kind of discourage you not to do things like that. And God's trying to get people back to their creative nature. You know what I mean? Like, following the leader is corny. You know what I mean? Not being an original, not thinking for yourself, not, developing yourself, strengthening yourself, growing yourself, and then trying to help elevate others is that's the way you should be going. But a lot of people like to mimic. It's like, I know you came in the door this way, and I want to come in the door the same way as you. And it's like, nah, dog. Like, I had to do mad trials and tribulations to get the juice that I got, or the way that I came in this door, or whatever. And other people that's, successful or whatever, like, never knock no one's success or how they had their journey to get to wherever they needed to get to. Because some people's journeys, trust me, you don't want to go that route, dog. Like, you hear these celebrities and such talking about what they had to do, to get to certain levels. And even once they get into that crowd, that's the devil's game over there, you know what I'm saying? So they play different. And if you're going to come up in that way, you got to know how to play like that. So all those are cutthroat type people. They're all followers, you know what I mean? They take chosen vessels and break them down. You know what I mean? That's what they do. And those are the chosen vessels that actually just gave up their right. They given up their birthright. You know what I mean? God told them, You a creator. They just gave that to the devil, like, huh? You can have that. I want this dollars. I want this rich and fame. I want a couple pennies. Not even knowing that them dollars ain't gonna always be dollaring like that. Currency is within you. You are the currency. You are the one that make things move. The things that you think about, the things that you put your energy is currency, man. Until people realize that energy is currency. Even on I'm an electrician. Even on an electrical thing, everybody know what currency is. Energy. That's straight. But it's actual real life as well. Now you have to break through the matrix to understand that. But yes, energy is currency. What you put your energy, your time and effort to is what's current, is what is going to bring value, is what, things align for you. Like, God will align these things for you. Like, as long as you're putting your time and dedication to the things that you're supposed to put your time and dedication to, especially if you're following the purpose of God, it's going to align and it's going to come current. Like, the people going to meet you. You don't have to meet them. They're going to meet you. Now, to get to that point, a lot of people ain't going to tell you, you know what I mean? A lot of people just going to tell you, like, yeah, they're going to meet you, this, that, and the third, but I ain't going to hold nothing back from you, dog. Listen, you have to be broken by God to do it God's way, first and foremost. And to get to that point, it's going to take a while. It's going to take some building with God, some trusting and having faith in God. And God's going to strengthen your faith in that process. Let me just put this down a little. In that process. So at the end of the day, as your faith is building, as he's breaking you, as he's growing you and showing you the new, you're going to start to see it transpiring because of your faith walk, the way you're moving. You know what I'm saying? You want something new, you have to do something new. But to say that the journey is not hard, I'll be lying to you. It's definitely things you got to go through. But it's like this. If you're going to do it God's way, which would be the righteous way, you know what I mean? It's going to be harder. But once you're there, it's sustained. You know what I'm saying? They can't break that. When you come in with God, God ain't going to break what he blessed. So when you coming in with him, it's sustained. It ain't going to crumble. Now, when you messing with the devil, the foundation is built on sand. It's going to break. It's going to fall. That's why you hear all these scandals and stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody got, because that's how the devil play, man. It's for a short time. You hear all the rappers, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. But see, they ain't even got the mindset right. Their mindset is fast, 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 fast. Let me get to the end game. Let me cheat my way to the end. And I'm going to be up top just for a little bit. And then, bam, I'm crashing down. That's what that is. They crashing fast. That's the fast lane. That's the fast game. And then, you know what I mean? The money aspect. Now, you know when you're getting straight good money, legit money, not crooked money or good and crooked money, like, oh, I got this 9 to 5. I put 50,000 worth of real clocked money, and then I got another 100K in drug money or stripper money or whatever else that I did it the slime way, the slime ball way. And you can't do that with God. You can do that on the devil's side. And that's where a lot of people going to get caught up right there. Because they're not willing to fully be broken, to change, to get away from the evil. You have to get away from that. So I don't indulge in endeavors that I know it's got crooked money. So, for instance, I used to be, I used to do construction work. We ain't gonna elaborate too much, but I'm a general contractor as well as an electrician. So when I opened up my general contracting business, and this is another thing, when you running a business and you see the aspect from from the provision or the eyesight of the owner of things, like it's different than the worker. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that W-2 or whatever. It's different when you know what I mean, that 1099 guy or whatever they want to say, you know. It's different when you're coming in and you're working as a contractor than as just a regular basic worker. When you're a basic worker or basic employee, you don't really care about what's going on with the corporation and the ins and outs of the corporation. You just want your bread right then, you know what I mean? I put in my 40, I put in my overtime, give me my bread, you know what I mean? That's basically what it should be anyway. But when you see it from the other aspect, like as an owner, and then you have to hire people and fire people and things like that, that's when you get the real grasp of like how all this stuff operates and works. So it's like, when I first opened up my business, I'm an electrician, I'm a general contractor, I'm a GC, I'm all of these things now, right? So I'm doing things, you know, God's growing me, but he was showing me as he was growing me. So I took on a job that I didn't even know what the job was at first. You know what I mean? I knew it was an electrical job. I was actually getting my label done for my company name, right? I was getting one of my coats done for my company name. And I was like, talking to the guy. He was at the kiosk. Now, this is before I learned about a lot of stuff in the spiritual realm on all aspects. So I'm just not even going in too deep on the other thing, because this one story or this one thing that I'm talking about can just elaborate for hours about different aspects of different spirits on people and different spirits and entities that you even got in the strongholds on. Yo, it's a lot. But you don't see these things. I mean, you can see these things in different ways, but on a physical working aspect, like I learned a lot because I became what you want to call a CEO, or owner, a boss, or whatever. That's how I learned a lot, and you know, I'm very observant. So I learned a lot of things spiritually. But one of the biggest things that God told me, you know, I opened up my businesses around COVID times. It was probably the best time for me at that time to open up a business, because if it wasn't kind of at that time, it would have been really hard for me at the time to just quit my job and just start how it all started, to just quit my job, leave over $100,000 a year, and just start my business and say, hey, I'm just gonna leave $100K like that. I mean, in a way I did, but not in a way like it was that it would have been so much harder. And I know that's probably why God did it when he did it. You know, when the COVID thing kind of happened, it kind of gave me a lead way. It kind of also gave me, you know, I worked with a couple different people, started building up a little rapport, started having a little work ethic of my own on like how I wanted to move, if I was moving as my own entity type of deal. So, you know, doing a lot of side jobs during COVID, because, you know, the country was down, you know, the whole place was down. So it was like, it kind of gave me like, dude, this is what I do. You want to really do this like this? And it's like, yeah, you know what, G, hook me up, show me what I need to do, and let's get it started. So I did that, started opening up my business, and I hooked up with the bull. I mean, at the kiosk, the guy at the kiosk. Let me get back on track. So I was with the guy at the kiosk, and he seen my company name, and he was like, "Oh, you do electrical work?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, you good electric?" I'm like, "Man, I'm one of the best, dog. Like, seriously, I really am a real good electrician. Like, no cap. Like, I'm good." But, you know, you could be real good at electrical work, you know what I mean? But, you know, there's levels to it. But I'm good. Like, people know that. Like, I can talk to you over the phone, and I'm a troubleshooter. Let's say it like that. I'm an electrical troubleshooter, top-notch PLC troubleshooting, all of that. Like, I'm a troubleshooter. I'm beyond just a basic electrician. Like, I troubleshoot circuits. And I actually can troubleshoot people now, because the way that God has blessed me on a spiritual aspect of things, I'm just a real life troubleshooter in life now. So he's like, yeah, I want you to come. I got an electrical job. I want you to come to my building. Show me the prints. I was like, if you got a print, he was like, you good? You really know what you're talking about? You really know what you're doing? I was like, give me the print, bro. Show me the print. I'll give you a price on what you're trying to get done on your job that you're trying to do. I ain't know the dude like that. I ain't know him from a can of paint. He ain't know me. He just knew that I had wanted a job done from him from his kiosk that he was going to embroider. It was an embroidery place that he was going to embroider my label, put my name on, my company name, and it was electrical. We started talking. Long story short, he gives me the prints. He emails me the prints. I show him the prints. He's like, yo, I want you to go to the location. The location's not crazy too far from what I was doing, because I was kind of like, you know, I was looking for more work at the time. I was expanding. I was like, yeah, I just opened up the business. He was my first major contract. Let's say it like that. He was my first major contract, because when I did open up my business as well, I did have another entity that I was working with. Like, I started doing PLC side work off of another company. So I was like a company would call me up now. Yo, I don't come in like that no more. Like, I'm not no W-2. Like, if you ain't contracting with whatever type of work you're trying to do, like, don't call me. You know what I mean? But this one company wanted me so bad to be just working for them, just doing some part-time work, you know, whenever I could give them the hours. It's like, yo, you pay me, we make a contract, you pay me, because that's how God was trying to show me, you know, moving away from the other way of, you know, establishing how we're supposed to work, right? I'm working as an entity now, so, but this was my first major contract, so that other stuff was like, yeah, Lord, yeah, it was great. It was a blessing. I was so elated and happy about the first little contract that I had. It was, you know, we'll call something like that. It's called like residual income. You know what I mean? Something like, you know, you can always get a little, yeah, you get a little kitty money. You know what I mean? Play money with that. So it's like, all right, we got the little residual coming in. So I'm gonna work with my man. So I started building with my boy. End up finding out this guy's got real mega bucks. You would never have known. You see a guy at a kiosk. He had the kiosk. He the man. Like, I ain't know he was the man, but he had favored me. He liked me. He liked my spirit and everything else. I know about him. You know, that's another story about his spirit. But yeah, these type of spirited people, like, you know, high vibrational, you know, motivated type of folk. So he was definitely intrigued on like what my potential was and what I could do and stuff. So I was just like, all right, let me go to the location. I'll go check out the whole building. I'll give you a price. Once I give you my price, that's it. And it's final. I give him my price. My price was probably like, I saved the money on keeping a piece of equipment there that his main guy that was giving him the quote wanted to add it because it would be like an extra like $13,000. And I told him if he kept this piece of equipment, we can do upgrades on everything else, but you keep this one piece of equipment because you don't have to change out this piece of equipment. I know I'm not going to hit you over the head with something I don't need to do. It's if I'm trying to steal money from you and add money, yeah, I can say, hey, you should upgrade this too. But what you have there, even though it's an older piece, because of it's not like super old, but it's an older piece, but it's got straight, and then this is on an electrical tip. If I got straight raw copper, why would I take out straight raw copper that's real good, that's been there, nothing wrong with it. I'm going to change it out for some aluminum copper clad. That would be asinine. That's me stealing. Because we already know that copper is way more durable than some copper clad aluminum. We know this. This is, as an electrician, you would know this, right? So I told him to keep the piece. I saved him $10,000. And then he said, he goes through. He was kind of like, he was shocked that I give him a $10,000. I can drop 10 grand on this price that he thought his boy had the best price. He thought he had the best price on the land, like he'd been working with his mans and stuff like that. And then he was like, he didn't think I was going to come up with this price. And then he was like, I actually have to go to my other guy, let him know that I'm about to take your deal because I know he's stealing from me right now. It was just like he had a knowing that his supposed boy was taken from him. I was like, hey, that's got nothing to do with me. I was like, you wanted the price. I gave you the price. This is the price. If you give me the job, it'll be done. Just how I'll write it up. We'll have it done in a year or whatever, however long it take, whatever. I think it was like 7-8 months he wanted it done in. 9 months. I think I did it in like 9-10 months or whatever because of the township and stuff like that. But I got the job. Let's say it like that. I got the job. I started doing the work. And then another thing is, God show you what people, when you're building, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to find people when you're building your company or whatever. It's not going to, everybody ain't with you like that. They want the bread, but they'll still stab you in the back after they get the bread. Like wishing and trying to cause catastrophic things to happen while they even got the bread for you to do the job. So it's a lot of jealousy and envy in these things. So you gotta be equipped. You gotta kind of know, like, if you're going to be in the business of being a general contractor or whatever, you kind of got to be multi-talented, because you can't just be the guy that just writes the check and don't know how to do the business, don't know how to fix something, because you're going to get chewed up. There's going to be people that's going to try to manipulate you. There's going to be people that's going to try to finesse you. It's going to be a lot of these different things, but one portion right now is we're talking about the money aspect. The money aspect was, when I went in there, I ain't truly know. I knew it was a ballroom that I was at, but we turned the ballroom into a liquor store. Now, I went to God about it. God was let me do it because there was a lot more lessons to be learned in that whole aspect of just growing in that, just being a business owner. So he was like, and at the time I didn't even have my license, so I had a guy that would cut for me for the licensing, but that was here nor there. But I always had my general contractors. But at the end of the day, God was just like, I want to show you some stuff, so I'm gonna let you take this. So I took that job, and I was just like, the whole time I'm doing it, through the trials and tribulations and stuff, through all of that, like, I was just like, God, do you want me to build liquor stores and stuff like that? Because the boy had money, and the way he was talking, he had other avenues and stuff too. But on that same aspect, it was like liquor stores, and he wanted to elaborate and have me doing because the dude had the plug. He was the plug, and he had money, but I had to let him go after that job was done. I did a couple other little things, and he really, he wanted me with him, but God was also showing that he wanted me to be in bondage under him, because we ain't even on the same wavelength when it came to like spirituality. And you kind of got to know that spirituality goes with what you're working with too. People don't realize that. Like if you're a business and then you doing like, so say you follower of God and you building all these liquor stores, yeah, that's money, but God don't want you to do that. You know what I'm saying? He don't want his blessing to go towards evil doings. You know what I'm saying? But I had to part ways with my man based off of a couple things. One thing was I didn't want to keep on building liquor stores or help with the process of building a liquor store or any of that type of deal. And then he was trying to get me to do like, hotels. Like he was a plug. Yeah, hotels and stuff. He was showing me. It's just like the devil just running it all down. Like, yo, dude, you can have all this. What you talking about? You just need to jump on a team. Like, you gonna be blessed. And it was just like, I would go to God about it. Like, a lot of people don't even go to God about things. Like, yo, is this right? Do you care? I mean, obviously, it's nothing that, I do. I'm just doing the wiring for the building. And I'm trying to justify, like, what I'm doing. Like, I'm not selling the product, but it's like, nigga, I'm actually putting y'all in operation, though. You know what I mean? So, another thing was we were on the same wavelength with like the spiritual aspect. Like my man worship Krishna. Now they over here, they worshiping deities. Krishna is a demon, and they really go hard in that. They got blood over top of they, you know what I mean? Like I've been in their houses and such, you know what I mean? I don't gotta explain what it is or who. But I've been in their houses. They be having shrines. They be having blood on top of the doorways and stuff. Just like on some biblical, the Passover, big. You feel me? And they go ham. And it be like that. And you don't know what the next man is doing. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of people that do demonic things. And they worship money. So they doing all of this for the wealth of money. So they doing all of these rituals and stuff so they pertain and keep money coming. Like they're enslaved. Like some of them be having that like they worship Krishna and you'll see the Krishna dude like looking like a little boy or whatever, like a gypsy kinda. Then they be having like some of them be having that the elephant with the what's the name, and then they burn these incense, yo. Every morning, dog. Like, I remember I used to go to locations before, but before when I had to roughen in and stuff, I ain't had to see this. But when it was, like, about time for them to open up the store, oh, man, every morning, man, burning incense to Krishna and stuff, like, just doing this demonic stuff right in front of me. I'm like, Lord, like, what am I here? But that's what he had me there for, like, know the difference between these type of monies. Like, even though... yeah, you might just be doing the electrical portion of it. That's a liquor store. I don't want you in there. I don't want you working with them. You know what I mean? I don't need you doing that. Now, if it's something different, there's certain things you're not going to know all about. That's why you should go to God about everything. But some locations, you know what I mean, you can go to and do certain things. But other things, God don't want you to partake in it. That's why he was like, more or less, that money was dirty money. That's basically what I'm getting to. Like, building up the liquor store was dirty money. Anyway, I was looking at that still was all dirty money. Now, if it was on the hotel side of things, that might have been a different thing. But also, God didn't want me to be around them because of who they worship. If it was honored and blessed by God, or if they worship God, the same God as me, the Most High God, then that would have been, okay. But because all of their stuff was coming in from, worshiping Krishna and, some of them worship Buddha or whatever, that's how they was pertaining their wealth. Like I said, you don't know what some of these people are doing. You'd be like, oh, I want to be like them, but you don't know what type of rituals these people are doing and to get this money. And more or less, I had to break ties with my man. And that ain't even like dirty money as in like street money. Like, I already knew, like, you gotta kind of, it's just like street hustlers, right? You can sell as long as you want on the block, bro. But that don't give you years of service on nothing. So them years of service is at a waste. So when you come into the corporate world or whatever, try to get a job or something, you worse than a novice if you 40, 50 years old, never had a regular job or never did something in your life to have that you have a career in something, or let's say that you have a license in something like HVAC or anything like that, but you just hustled on the street. Now you don't got no back, and you don't got no. I was 10 years. Oh, excuse me. I was 10 years a mechanic, or I was 10 years an electrician, or I was 10 years on this production line, or I was 10 years, you know what I mean, or 5 years or whatever. I got this experience doing, I was managing these people and that and this, that, and the third. Like, you ain't got no years. You're a novice. So when you coming off the block, making what? Y'all know what y'all be making. Everybody capping like they making hundreds of thousands of dollars, all right? And then coming from that, you get popped. Now you got to go to work. Working at Walmart or something for like $12 an hour. Yeah. It's because you ain't investing in yourself. You try to take the easy way. Now it's hard. So the whole thing is, you want to be legit. You got to first talk to God. And you got to be broken. And God's going to raise you up slowly but surely to your climax. And if you come in this fast-paced way, you might make it to the top, but it'll be a short stay. It's going to be a short stay. And then you're going to crash straight down. So that's just something to think about, you know. How do you want to perceive yourself or elevate yourself in life? Do you want to be a quick come up, quick downfall? Or do you want to have longevity? Because that's basically what it came down to me. I wanted longevity. I mean, I hustled a little bit, sold a little bit of weed or whatever, some coke back when I was a kid or whatever. I'll tell you this. I did that, and I actually got a CDL license when I used to do stuff like that. I had an alternative motive when I was doing things of that nature. Even though I knew it was wrong. And it's wrong and wicked. And I repented for the things that I've done like that. But I definitely used it to my advantage. I didn't use it just to be like, yo, I'm making all this money. No, I actually took some of that dirty money, you know, and got a license, a CDL license with that back when. And that was before I had to learn how to do it the right way. But that was one of the ways that, you know, I did it for the dad. But I also used that dirty money to help me get a little bit on the other side. And I know people do that. Like, they start a business. They might start a pizzeria or something like that. Or they might open up a barbershop, or, you know, a detailing, or whatever, you know, anything, car wash or whatever, right? But they might have used dirty and clean money. Now, if you're trying to walk with God and make it, you're going to have to get rid of that dirty money. God's going to take that. You're going to break that down. You might lose that business, but he'll bring it back up. New business. Clean. No dirt. So it's either you're going to go all the way clean, slow and steady, but it wins the race, you know what I'm saying? Or you're going to do it your way. And usually when a person tries to do it their way, it's a fast way. Some clean, some dirty. Hopefully the narcos don't catch me, you know what I'm saying, on my way to trying to elevate. And that's why people, when it comes down to it, you're going to have to go clean. You should go clean anyway, because when you're elevating, people are going to be trying to go on your back. They're going to try to check your Rolodex. Well, how did you get to here? What did you do? How you here? How'd you get that? And then if they seen that you did it all the way clean, they ain't going to have nothing. They're going to be searching, but they ain't going to be able to find nothing. But if they see the dirty, then that's when you're on the news. That's when you're on, you know what I mean? They're going to let you come on in. And then they're going to humiliate you right on television. That's when you're on the news, like, oh, you got this scandal going on, this, that, and the third. So be mindful, man. The devil out here stealing souls. He's stealing chosen ones' purposes because they just giving it away. They don't want to work for this real. They want it to be given to them. Fast way. Quick. So I'm going to just leave that one right there. This is Church from Churches Intake. I don't really know what I'm going to name this, but it's enlightenment, man. It's just talk about building. God bless.